being a 5D mystic, functional adult, that enlightenment soul age group person, those of us who are in that Purusha Prakriti alignment. These are all words that you actually acknowledge embodying because we know the sensation. So being a functional adult, it is a human being who is emotionally mature. So we have integrated brains, and that means our left and right mode are actively all hands on deck with a default mode network that is downregulated. And that means our social engagement system is on. So functional adult is the Zen master of the Zen tradition story that we have discussed on the episodes, which is where functional adult equals green. I'm in my social engagement. You could be an adaptive child using words, weaponizing psych education, which it has happened to me before because I'm a compassionate beyond a reason person. So when adaptive children, those charged states which they don't acknowledge as actual childhood trauma, the people that I know, they don't believe in any of the updated trauma-informed stuff. I do understand why they don't believe in my Reiki. I'm a Reiki practitioner. So when somebody's been like, oh, I don't believe in energy work and that you can do it from afar, I'm like, you don't have to believe in it. I totally understand where you're coming from. I didn't believe I would be using the word mystic, but I didn't not believe it, meaning I didn't set myself to being dead sure about anything. I'm not an idiot. Thank you, Sadhguru. My favorite quote, intelligent ones wander. Idiots are dead sure. Sadhguru, a guru for a reason. And so here's where I love to bring spiritual and spirituality. Sadhguru's spirituality, spirituals, my metaphysics is a terrorism group. I love tarot consultation, and that's the 5D way, not the 4D. There are no karmics, there are no energy vampires, there are no people of our oversoul, that's all life, that are in this boat. What there is energy, and that's the beauty of the existential physics book that I still need to read of Sabine, and then just physicists overall and biologists and actual updated information that 3D, 4D, and other people who are dead sure, that's why they're idiots. It's really, you don't know everything, I don't know everything, so the fact that you have a group that might line up a couple of things or more. So some of us, we don't line up because that's adaptive child, to try and prove you're right, to make it in a way that you can try and have power, because see, to prove you're right means you think you're right and I'm wrong, but there's also power struggle going on. And it's an adaptive child energetically, if they're really into like, no, now you need to hear what I'm saying. I need to be able to talk over you. I need to be able to list everything. So it makes a whole lot of sense when Terry Real describes, so it's a power, then there's self-bridled expression. It's all about their idea, pedestal, whatever it is that they're doing. In fact, we usually will hand them over the floor, because once somebody says, you can't do that, like from a sentence that we will have just spoken. I mean, I was a kid when this would happen, and I'm like, what? I just did do that. You just told me that I can't do something that I just did, and you're confusing me. Let me hear what you have to say, because I'm now confused, because I didn't ask you to tell me what I can or cannot speak from this mouth. And I have so long story short, the other part, oh yes, once they don't have the ability to get you to say, oh yeah, I totally, because obviously you can't fake it, right? So, I mean, I've done this a lot where I'm like, okay, I did tell you I don't want to lie to you, but you keep on insisting that I need to say yes to your list of proof. And I'm like, I'm not trying to disprove me. I don't know why you're trying to do this right now, because I'm not competing. I didn't ask you to be my brain and think my thoughts. So we learn the right silence because we really don't want to have what is not an exchange. We like to intellectually have exchanges, not you tell me how to think or I tell you how to think. And you're not obviously going to be a physical threat, even if you weaponize words, which people have. Psych education, not very updated, by the way. But I'm like, yeah, I hear the words. You're not making me ashamed to be an unconditionally loving person. I still don't know what you're doing, because I have no idea why you're in this attitude. In fact, here's where we're going to read another quote from this lovely, lovely NICABM community. I actually have taken the strategies to help people to navigate rupture and build skills to repair. It was in my subscription-based model series, 8 weeks of courses. And George Fowler, LMFT. So it's beautiful when you have the good therapist explaining to people how to be functional adults. And let me finish with Terry Real, because he actually supports mindful relationships. I have a course with him as well. And he's an awesome therapist. And I love when he says adults don't get abandoned, children do. So when he has people who are still working through their shame defectiveness cycle and they're in a partnership, he gets the person who's basically the child to say, okay, what's going on? Help me understand. What are you protecting? Which part of your childhood, when was it that you felt you needed to get charged and defend this position of yours? And then, okay, once you're letting it out, okay, you got another human being who's a partner. They're not your parent or a child, so you're going to want to be here when we look at each other eyes to eyes. So that's in equanimity land. It means you're calm inside. Not okay. So the charge state is something people don't understand because they don't put into practice mastering all of the emotional spectrum. Mastering means that you know how to make good use of it. So like anger, I don't actually have it as much, even though I get frustrated and annoyed. But like the anger part, I was a kid, I think that a few times it happened, and then there were other, well, anyways, long story short though, we know how to have a relationship with the emotions, while those who don't, thank you Patrick Tiahan, as he spells out, that adaptive children who have childhood trauma are actually disconnected from all the range of emotions. So they have to first create a reconnection and know why there's this off feeling, because they'll notice, like, I don't feel these feelings like other people. But it's normal, because if your body is not a sanctuary, the sensations that come up, so if you're not in a restorative embodied self, it's okay. The 5D mystics, enlightenment, soul age group people, we have sanctuary in our body. We know how to handle our sensations. So as we're interacting in life, I'm 43. I've grown more loving and compassionate than ever. And now I can explain, for those who are here already, it's all good. It's okay. When you're handling those who become adoptive children as grown-ups and they stick to it, they're going to choose to weaponize psychoeducation. They're going to use very specific words. They're words that are diagnoses. They actually can be officially done. So if anybody ever uses those words with you, narcissism, sociopath, psychopath is one as well. Because see, when a ventral vagal no is stated or not stated, and there's a position of I'm unwavering because I'm not you, and your thoughts and emotions are yours, and my thoughts and emotions are mine. So I'm differentiating, and I'm going to link with you, but I'm not going to mesh with you. It means I don't belong to your group. I'm not a group. I'm a person. When that happens, people will tend to use very specific words, because an adaptive child is a charge state of a person who has a like and dislike. They've sanctified their likes. They've dissanctified their non-likes. Or you could say, what is it called? Yes, a good thing to do, bad thing to do. They've decided what their karma is, and they now want you to basically go on in. And so a 5D mystic, enlightenment soul age group, we don't know the words. I didn't know them as a kid. All I knew was, I'm not really sure this revenge thing, what's going on, envy, jealousy. All I know is that it's an immature emotion. It's charged, and I didn't do anything remotely to what you're yelling or saying, whatever it is. I actually haven't been yelled at many times, but even when it's happening, I'm like, okay, I'm not really sure what's going on here. You don't know how to manage your anger, which is nothing to be ashamed of. There's anger management for reasons. In fact, compassion-based therapy, thank you, Russell Coates, really great. He helps people who have shame Teflon bags, so they deflect anything that's good. And he also helps them to know it's nothing to be ashamed of to have anger. I have anger. We learn how to manage all the emotions. I even have fear. I'm still learning to master that one. So before we go, though, let me read this lovely quote by George Fowler. It's not about the word sorry. It's about the intent behind it. If your intent is to keep your focus on the mission, which is growing your partner's trust, you're going to be good. If it's really about you and protecting yourself, it's not going to be so effective. Because when it's about you, it's an adaptive child. It's a safety behavior. This is where there's a childhood trauma beneath the surface. There's a desire for being seen, validated, to be soothed, to feel safe. So safety behavior, maladaptive response as an adult. But adults don't see it that way, because the movies have made it look really normal to have these types of behaviors. And then the 4D calls it karmics and energy vampires and dark auras, and makes a lot of different separation consciousness perspectives. So that's not 5D plane. 5D is oneness consciousness perspective. You and I are human, unconditionally loving, by the way, with flaws and imperfections and our own lovely energy. And we have infinite higher human consciousness potential experiences, because we have direct communication with love and compassion always in the forefront. No shame, no blame, no fault.